of an old folk song. They're finally starting to realise in my country that the problem that we have, the economic problem we have, is based on too much cheap credit. And the reason we need a lot of cheap credit in my country is because wages are just flatlining, and they have been flatlining for the last 7 years. So in order for people to buy shit to make the economy work, the banks have to make money available for them cheap. And it's terrible. In my country, the gap between the richest and the poorest after the Second World War got narrower every year. Every year. Not really narrow, but every year these people paid a bit more tax. These people earned a bit more money in their wages, and slowly, little by little, the gap between the richest and the poorest narrowed. And then in 1979, Margaret Thatcher was elected, and the gap began to open again. And Tony Blair was elected, it carried on opening. Now, these people at the bottom have seen no real increase in their wages and their spending power for 7 years. These people at the top, my arm isn't fucking long enough to show you where they've gone. And I won't see them again for a while. They're in another country somewhere away. And it breaks my heart, because in my country we had a special mechanism that made sure that these people paid their fucking way in society, paid the right amount of taxes. We had a mechanism that made sure of that. We had a mechanism that made sure these people at the bottom earned a decent wage, that they didn't have to borrow money in order to live. We had a mechanism that made sure that every year the gap between the richest and the poorest narrowed every year, and we called that special mechanism the labour unions. And we've been, since Margaret Thatcher destroyed the unions, nobody now stands up for ordinary working people and says they should earn proper wages for a proper day's work. Not the Conservative Party, not the Liberal Democrats, not the Labour Party, nobody. And that, brothers and sisters, is why our economy is fucked, because ordinary people aren't earning a proper wage. And I'm very encouraged by the Occupy movement. I'm very encouraged by a new generation who are going to remake our compassionate politics for a new generation. But the thing they're very quickly are going to learn, the thing that they're going to very quickly learn is what we who struggled in the 20th century learned, and what our ancestors who struggled in the 19th century learned, which is ultimately, fundamentally, you have got to organise. You've got to organise, because if you want to change the world, you've got to recognise that there is power in a union. Power in the line, power in the hand of the worker. But it all amounts to nothing if together we don't stand. There is power in a union. Now the lessons of the past are all learned with workers' blood. The mistakes of the bosses we must pay for. From the cities and the farmlands to trenches full of mud. There's always been the boss's way, sir. The union forever defending our rights. Down with the black leg workers unite. With our brothers and our sisters, together we will stand. There is power in a union. Now I long for the morning that they realise brutality and unjust laws cannot defeat us. Who'll defend the workers who cannot organise, and the bosses send their lackeys out to cheat us. Money speaks for money, the devil for his own. Who comes to speak for the skin and the bone? What a comfort to the widow, a light to the child. There is power in a union. Unite. sisters, together we will stand. There is power in the union forever defending our rights. Down with the black legal workers unite. With our brothers and our sisters, together we will stand. There